And it goes on then. He covered the world's agony with his calm. Now the Savior who comes here, the God's messenger who comes here to save this world, he covered the world's agony with his calm. Yes, that is the quality, the spiritual quality of his, that yes, there is pain, there is death, there is ignorance and all that here, but he comes with such all-pervasive calm that nothing disturbs him. Nothing disturbs him. Calm. But though to the outward eye no sign appears, and peace is given to our torn human hearts, the struggle is there, and paid the unseen price. The fire, the strife, the wrestle are within. The struggle is there, and paid the price. The fire, the strife, the wrestle are within. So this is the real biography of the yogi. This is the biography of Ashtapati. This is the autobiography, Sri Aurobindo own experiences described here. This is what the struggle is there and paid the unseen price. He has paid the price. The fire, the strife, the wrestle are within. He carried the suffering world in his own breast. That is the identification with the world. He carried the suffering world in his own breast. Now, such a thing the omniscient goddess cannot do. You see, she would be able to do. See, he is saints way on his thoughts. His grief is his. Earth's ancient load lies heavy on his soul. Ancient load lies heavy on his soul. Night and his powers beleaguer his tardy steps. The Titan adversary's clutch he bear. His march is a battle and a pilgrimage. Now this phrase, ancient, appears 2 or 3 times here in this context. Ancient load, what I got here. Ancient load is a little later on also in 49, 148, 49. 108.49. He meets an ancient adversary force. Ancient. Now this is 108.45, and then we have got 108.49. 49. Yeah, 4 sentences afterwards. Just a little below. Just a little. Yeah, just a little below. He meets an ancient adversary force. Ancient adversary force. And again a little further down, 108.57. An adversary force was born of old. In all the 3 places, you have got essentially the same thing: ancient load, ancient force, ancient adversary. Now, of course, the word ancient load, ancient does not mean that long before the history and that kind of a thing. Here, the connotation is not that in that sense. Ancient means basically long-standing, which is long-standing, which has been there all along. From the beginning, long-standing. So the word ancient here basically means that, long-standing. That load has been there all along, ancient. It is not that in a certain kind of an epoch it started. It is even beyond that. It is long-standing. It is there, so to say, right from the beginning, in that sense. You see. As ancient load lies heavy on his soul. He, of course, stands again for the messenger. The Titan adversary's clutch he bears. His march is a battle and a pilgrimage. Life's evil smites. He's stricken with the worst of pain. A million wounds gape in his secret heart. Of course, million basically means countless. Countless suffering. Now, countless suffering would not mean necessarily the suffering in a given particular incarnation. They have been there all along. They've been there all along, you see. All those wounds are there since the whole process through which he is moving. Not necessarily even in a given particular incarnation. Through the incarnations. A million wounds gave in his secret heart. His journey is sleepless through an unending night. Now that is the unending night. That is what makes it throughout ancient, all that thing comes here. And antagonist forces crowd across his path. A siege, a combat is his inner life. We don't know. Shemanu says a work difficult and painful. He writes in 1912 to Motilal Roy, I am engaged in a work which is difficult and painful. Painful. That is the inner life. That's the combat. Even worse may be the cost, direr the pain. His large identity and all harboring love shall bring the cosmic anguish into his depths. He has become wide to encompass the agony of the entire creation. And therefore he has to bear all that. Worse may be the cost. He has to, it's not for his personal now, the cosmic depths. That is what is coming. The sorrow of all living things shall come and knock at his doors and live within his house. A dreadful cord of sympathy can tie all suffering into a single grief and make all agony in all the worlds his own, in all the worlds, in the vital, in the mental, in the subtle physical, wherever, in the higher spiritual, wherever is there, in all the world, all agony, in all the worlds, he has to bear. That is a cosmic load he is bearing in his soul. Again, he says the same thing, ancient adversary, you see, long-standing adversary. He meets an ancient adversary foes. Now, in the context of pain, you see, when the Asura of bliss turned into suffering, it is he who is now coming and creating this affliction, this havoc. So it is that adversary, ancient adversary foe, one who turned into his opposite. The God of bliss, when he went far away from the Supreme Source, he turned into his opposite. Consciousness became unconsciousness. Life became death. Bliss became sorrow. When that separation took place, it is that ancient adversary which he has to meet now. In that sense, he is there right in the beginning. He is lashed with the whips that tear the world's worn heart. The weeping of the centuries visits his eyes. He wears the blood-glued fiery centaur's shirt. The poison of the worm has stained his throat. Now, these are very rapid transitions. The descriptions are from one epoch of history to another epoch of history. Very rapid. The weeping of the centuries visits his eyes because of the ancient sorrow, ancient adversary. You see. He wears a blood-glued fiery centaur shirt, blood-glued fiery centaur shirt. Now that is the direct reference to the Greek mythology, centaur. The name of the centaur is Nessus, Nessus. Nessus. Now the background is briefly something like this. We know of the 12 labors of Hercules, 12 labors for him. Now, after finishing the 12 labors, so to say, he was carrying his wife to his place or whatever, and then he had to cross a river which was in spate, flooded river, full flooded river. Now, there was a difficulty. He could swim across the river, Hercules. There was no problem about him swimming the river through and go to the other shore. But what about his wife? Then the centaur was there, Nissus, and he was requested to ferry her across. Uh, uh, Across, you see. Carry her across, you see, basically. And of course, he agreed. Centaurs are very lusty people and uh, fond of all kind of vital things, enjoyment, joy. And while he was crossing the river, he wanted to abduct her and take her away, that lady you see. And he did it, in fact. And when Hercules saw what was happening, he took an arrow with a poisonous snake on it and shot the arrow at Nissus, which pierced through his heart. And the poison got embedded into his heart. And still he was carrying, he knew what was happening now, the centaur, but he told this lady to take care of herself, and he gave his shirt to her as a protection from that thing, you see. And later on, when she started having an affair with somebody else, not with Hercules, this man got angry. Yeah, that lady. it, then, then he became angry and all that kind. There was a kind of a fight and all that, you see. And at that time, what she did was, she played a trick. She gave the shirt to Hercules. Centaur shirt, she gave it to him. And without knowing, he put on that shirt, you see. But then that shirt was poisonous shirt, and it was burning his body, burning with fire as well as with poison. Burning his body, that shirt, you see, that. Huh? Well, he did not know. After wearing it, she also did not realize. She realized later on. She realized it later on, you see. She also did not know it. She realized it afterwards. By the time she realized it, it was too late. She sent a messenger also to Hercules. Stop, stop, stop. But he had already put on the shirt, you see. And in that process, then he died. Because of that, Hercules. He died because of that. Yeah. He died because of that, you see. So that is the centaur shirt, you see. Blood glued, fiery centaur's shirt, you see. I will read here a little description. A centaur's mighty yellow bow. Well, before we come to that, yeah. Nessus offered to ferry Hercules' wife across a torrent on his back. Nessus. Midway, his animal nature got the better of him. And he tried to force his attention on his passenger, on, on that lady, you see. She shrieked, and Hercules ran, running after her, you see. He killed Nessus with a single arrow through the heart. Poisoned arrow, you see. Nessus told Deianira, that lady's name, As he lay dying, just as he lay dying, he told her his blood would enforce that Hercules would be true to her forever. He cheated her, true forever. When he, when her trust waned, she started attaching herself to somebody else. Waned. She spread the blood on his shirt and gave it to Hercules because she was in love with somebody else now. Huh? Because he has told her that he will be true to her. If he wears that shirt, he will be true to her. Uh, to her. Yeah, he believed that's right. Hercules lay dying slowly and painfully, and his shirt burned his skin, burned with fire and with poison. So that is the reference here. He wears the blood glued, fiery centaur shirt. Narada has seen all that came from above, see? And he's telling this is what the ancient adversary force does. In fact, this is the work of the ancient adversary force, basically, in that context. He has played a trick. And of course, Hercules died because he had put on that shirt later on. And he was well received in heaven by Zeus and all that. That is a separate thing because of the labor which he had put. But the cause of his death is this shirt. Otherwise, he was, so strong, he would have perhaps killed anybody, anywhere. You see. The poison of the world has stained his throat. Now, this is another reference. This is the Indian mythology. Nilakantha, Nilakantha, Shankara. He drank the poison of the world. In the churning of the sea, when the pot of poison came out, gods refused to drink it. Asuras refused to drink it as a gift. They would not touch it at all. It is Shankara, Shiva, who drank that poison, and therefore his throat has become stained, Neela. Neela means blue, blue-throated. In fact, we have got that reference in blue-throated in Canto 1 of Book 4. Oh. Now, there is another reference here. In the marketplace of matter's capital. Marketplace of matter's capital. There are actually, we can read 2 or 3 allusions in the marketplace to this one, marketplace, basically. Essentially, the first reference would be to Socrates. Socrates. Yeah. It is Socrates who brought the philosophy to marketplace. He was teaching the market to all his disciples in the marketplace. And finally, then he had to drink the glass of poison, hemlock. He brought it philosophy for people, but he had to drink that thing. Marketplace of matter's capital, amid the sufferings of the affair called life. So all these bargainings, all this haggling which goes on in the market, among them, what is happening? He is tied to the stake of a perennial fire. This messenger is tied to the stake of a perennial fire. See, these are very, very strong kind of indictments on the way in which we do things here, the sort of inquisitions, the sufferings we inflict on the saviors who come here in that context, you see. He is tied to the stake of a perennial fire. Now, stake of a perennial stake in the European history, the greatest example is Bruno being burned on the stake in a marketplace. In a marketplace. He was tied to the stake and burned alive because the Inquisition didn't accept his ideas. In fact, he one of the reasons which is normally given is his insistence on the heliocentricity of the solar system. That sun is the center of the planetary system, not the earth, but solar system, sun, heliocentricity. And that was not acceptable to the Christian theology. Obviously, it is not acceptable. It cannot be accepted. There is a fallacy also in that because the Bible says earth is the center of all these things. And if this man comes and says, no, not earth, but sun, then it means you are challenging Bible. You are challenging Bible. It means you are really knocking out the entire theological base of Christianity. By one single, you are knocking out the entire base. How can it be accepted? Burn it. Remove him off, you see. Pardon? Yeah, that's right. That is Bruno's trait, you see. Now that is normally the expression given, but I believe that it is not the question of astronomy, geocentricity or heliocentricity. It is not so important. It is the basic tenet of Christianity which is challenged by Bruno. Is it true? It is that which is challenged by that Christianity.